Right, on to November 2013. Now the November 2013 papers, as you can see, the grade boundaries were quite high, so this was a fairly straightforward paper. You're going to need to break 60 to be confident of a grade C, and to get to a grade C really you need to be looking at getting everything right up to question 12, and then picking off a few marks with the harder stuff would be the easiest way of doing it. So let's get stuck in. First question is a bill. My calculator ready. Okay, so 4 pairs of trousers costing £14.99 a pair, 10 pairs of socks costing £3.27, so it's going to be 10 lots of £3.27. So that's £32, and remember you have to be careful, it isn't £32.07 because the zero would be there in that case. The zero comes after, so you need to put that in because we're talking about money, pounds and pence. 6 shirts costing, right, it isn't 6 lots of 1846 because it's 1846 for 2, so we only need 3 lots of £18.46. That's where it pays to read the question, which is 55.38, and 2 pairs of shoes, £32.68 a pair, £65.36. We add those up now to get the total. So we've got 59.96 plus 32.70 plus 55.38 plus 65.36, £213.40. 5% discount, 5% written in like writing pence in pounds would be 5 pence in pounds, 0.05 times 213.40 £10.67. Check the question. Yeah, this is asking for the discount, and that is the discount. If the question had asked how much does he then pay, you would have to take the 2 away. Circle the quantity that is the appropriate estimate for each of the following. So distance from London to Coventry is going to be kilometres. Weight of a large dog. Now grams is small, milligrams is even smaller, so it's one of these two. 350 kilograms is not far off half a ton. Half a ton would be 500 kilograms, which is daft, so a large dog, that would be sort of half the weight of a man. Capacity of a small jug would be, again, if you think of a can of Coke, 330 millilitres. Small jug would be about the same size as a can of Coke. And the height of a door would be just under 2 meters. The one that's just under 2 meters there is the 190 centimeters. So mark for the first 2 questions. You've got 1 mark for each of the calculations, and here you've got a method mark for how you're going to find the discount, and then an answer mark for that, and here you have 1 mark for each. Then we got our estimating question. So as I've said to you, make sure that your method is clear, and this one is just a direct read off the centimetre squared grid. There's no scale involved in this one. So count squares more than half covered. That's our method, and now we're going to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61 squares. I reckon, and the answer would be anything between 59 and 65 would earn you the marks. Now, because it's just reading off the centimetre squared grid, that's all you have to write down. So method mark there for counting the squares, 1 mark there for having your answer within that range. The total for page 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 marks. Draw all lines of symmetry on the following shapes. So we're looking to put a line on there where you could put a mirror and the reflection would be identical to the other side. So on this one, there's only one, which is going through like that. And with this star, what you can hopefully see is that there's going to be one through every point of the star on the opposite side. So it'll have another one there, and it will have another one there. And another one there. I missed one then, didn't I? No, I missed a couple. There's another one there, and there's another one there. So there you go for that. All the lines of reflection on that. And for that, you got one for the 1 there, and one for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines on that one. Okay, probability question. Charlotte has a spinner with 8 identical sections, except for their colour. Some are coloured white, some are pink, and one is coloured yellow, as shown below. The arrow is spun and it stops at random on a coloured section. On the probability scale below, mark the points A, B and C where. Okay, so it's out of 8. So the probability that it stops on white is 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 8, which is the same as a half. So A is going to be in the middle. The probability that it does not stop on yellow, well, there's only one yellow, so that means there are 7 chances of it not stopping on yellow. So if you were to think about this being divided up into 8ths, so 8 little bits, so 4 little bits outside, then B would be 7 out of 8 there. And stopping on red, there are no red, so red will be impossible, so it'll have a probability of 0. So C will be there. Circle the best expression from those given below to describe the chance of the event B occurring. Likely. Yeah, it's above even because it's above the middle. It's not certain, so it is likely. So you have got 1 mark for each of those correct, and 1 mark for that. Total for the page 6. Okay, so these are the names you need to know. That one is a cylinder. And B is a cuboid. Okay, it's not a cube because it's got different length sides. A cube has all sides the same length. This is a tangent. And this is a perpendicular. And you need to remember the perpendicular is at right angles. It isn't the parallel one. So what you do is you line one of your longer lines on your protractor up with it, and slide it across until it goes through C. Make sure that it's still there, like that, and then put a little box in there so you're showing that you knew that that should be a right angle. So for that, 1 mark for each. Question 6. Okay, so it's a table reading question. Lots of information to get our heads around. The following table gives the postal charges for sending letters, small packets and printed papers over 100 grams to various parts of the world. So what I always tell you to do is pick a part and make sure you understand what it's saying. So if I just pick this one here, this is saying that to send a letter or a small packet to somewhere in the UK or Europe that was weighing between 250 and 300 grams, it would cost £3.62. This one here would be saying World Zone 1, up to 800 grams would be £11.64, and World Zone 1 means USA, South America, Canada, Africa and the Far East. Anything above 2,000 grams, you're going to be adding 60 pence for every 100 gram or part of 100 grams. Okay, so I think I got my head around that. Part A. What is the cost of sending a letter weighing 200 grams to Europe? So 200 grams, Europe is that one there, £3.16. What is the cost of sending a package weighing 585 grams to Canada? So Canada is Zone 1. So Canada 585 is going to be up to 600. So that's going to be £9.20. So the marks for that bit is 1 for that and 1 for that. Okay, here's the communication question. So we're still going to be using that table. So let's see what we have to do. Gethin sends a package weighing £9,460 to New Zealand. How much change should he get from £40? So first of all, we need to establish what zone that's in. So New Zealand is Zone 2. So New Zealand equals Zone 2. Now 2,460 means he's going to be paying the 2,000 and then another 5 of those to take him up to the 2,500, because it only counts up in 100. So we'll have to pay for 2,000 grams plus 5 lots of 100 grams. So £2,000 for Zone 2 is £27.46 plus 5 lots of £1.28. So that's going to be £27.46 plus. Now remember, I've almost forgotten then, this is a calculator out paper, so we can do the 5 times £1.28 on the calculator, which is £6.40. So the cost is going to be that plus £27.46, which is £33.86. So that's how much it'll cost him. So the change will be 40 less £33.86, which is £6.14. Right, so let's see how the marks break down for that one. So you got 1 mark for correctly getting the 5 extras. Then there are 2 method marks for the £27.46 and the 5 times £1.28. So 2 marks for that. 1 mark for the £33.86, 1 mark for the £6.14, and then 2 marks available to you for correct spelling and how you've set out your work. Question 7. The following patterns have been made using shaded and unshaded squares. How many shaded squares will there be in pattern 100? So if we take a look at what's going on here, the first pattern has got 1 white, second pattern has got 2 whites, the third pattern has got 3, the fourth has got 4. So the white squares are going to be the number of white squares is going to be the same as the pattern number. So white squares for pattern 100 will be 100. And then for the grey squares, you can see there's always 1 more grey square than white square. So in that, for shaded squares, there are going to be 101. There'll be 1 more than the white squares, which is 100. In pattern 60 altogether, you will have 60 white squares and 61 shaded squares, so 121 altogether. Which pattern will have 81 squares altogether? Well, if you take the 1 off, that's the extra, that'll be 80. So you could then divide it in 2 and that'll give you the number of white squares, which will be the same. So it'll be 81, take away 1 is 80, divided by 2 is 40, so it'll be pattern number 40. So for that question, 1 mark for the 101, 1 mark for seeing the method, 60 plus 61, and 1 mark for the answer. And then similarly here, 1 mark for the method of taking 1 off and halving, and 1 mark for the correct answer of 40. So total for that page is 712. Question 8, describing words. So it isn't an nth term rule. The rule for continuing the following sequences. So this one is going up in, first of all, 12. That's going up 12. So 12 is being added. So in words, the rule, add 12 to previous number. Now with this one, the fact that it's changing from plus to minus to plus to minus to plus means that it's being multiplied by a negative number. So you're going to multiply. Now if you multiply by 3, you'd be going 3, 9, 27, 81. So that would be without the negative number. So by multiplying by negative 3, then you would get that change of sign as well. So the rule in words is multiply previous number by minus or negative 3. Okay, formula 6 in the G. You should know, be comfortable by now, joined by a times. So it isn't going to be 6 and then 12, so 612. It's going to be 6 times 12 plus 10 times, and instead of H3. 6 12s is 72. 10 3s are 30. So you work out each multiplication first and then add the 2 together to get 102. 8C. A magazine cost M pence. Write down in terms of M the cost of 8 magazines. So it's going to be 8M or 8 times M or m times 8, doesn't matter. And then to turn pence into pounds, we divide by 100. So 8m over 100, because it's algebra, but if you wrote 8m divided by 100, then that would be okay too. So for that, 1 mark for correctly substituting in, and 1 mark for the answer, 1 mark for 8m, 1 mark for 8m over 100. Number 9. The marks obtained by Colin in 8 subjects were as follows. Okay, find the mean of these 8 marks. So mean is where you add them all together and divide by however many there are. So you could write the list there, or you could do it up there. Add them all together. So just rewriting it. 66, add 45, add 59, add 55, add 65, add 69, add 45, add 72. So that comes to 476. So the mean is 476 divided by the number of numbers, which are 8. So 476 divide by 8, 59.5. Now for the range and for the median, we need to have the list in order. So I'm going to write that list out again. And I'll write that here because we're going to need it for the median. So the smallest number in the list is 45, and there's another 45, and then there's a 55, then there's a 59, then there's a 65, then there's a 66, then there's a 69, then there's a 72. So just check, we should have 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the range is going to be 72 the biggest, take away 45 the smallest, 27. And then the median is the middle value, and because there are 8, so it's an even number, we're going to have 2 middle values, 3 that side, 3 that side. So we have to go halfway between those two. And the easiest way to do that, when you get a calculator, is add the two of them together and divide by 2. So the median is 62. So for that one, you get 1 mark for adding up all the numbers, 1 mark for the method of dividing by 8, and 1 mark for your answer, 1 mark for the range, and 1 mark for getting the middle 2, and 1 mark for then correctly finding the middle term. So total for that page, 2, 4, 6, 9, 10, 12. Question 10, distance time graph. An express coach travelled from Bristol to Swansea. It stopped at the motorway services on the way. The travel graph below represents its journey from leaving Bristol up to the time it left the motorway services. How far from Swansea was the coach when it started out? So, as I've told you before, with questions like this, the first thing to do is work out what each little square is worth. So on this one, we're going from 0 to 20 in 10. So we're going to do 20 divided by 10 is 2. So each little square is 2. In this direction, we're going from 10 o'clock to 10:30, which is 30 minutes in 10 jumps. So each little square is 3 minutes. Okay, so Swansea, distance from Swansea. So Swansea is the distance of Swansea from Swansea is 0. So that means Swansea is here, and that means Bristol is here. So we get 100, 110, 112, 114 miles. How far did the coach travel in the first hour? So in the first hour, it's gone from 114 down to 50, which is 64 miles. How many minutes did the coach stop at the motorway services? So it's 30 minutes from 11 till 1:30, and then we're going up in 3 minutes a square, just going up another 1, 2, 3, 4, which is another 12 minutes. So it's going to be 30 minutes and 12 minutes, 42 minutes. After stopping at the motorway services, the coach was driven at a steady speed, reaching Swansea at 13:39. Draw the graph for this part of the journey. So 13:39, 13:30 would be there, so I have to go on another 3 squares for the extra 9 minutes, which is there. It's at a steady speed, so we can just draw a straight line then from when it left the service station to when it joined, or when it arrived at Swansea. So your line is going to look like that. Mark's question 10. 1 for that, 1 for that, 1 for that, 1 for that. What percentage is £95 of 250? So to turn that into a percentage, you would write it as a fraction. What I'm looking for is 95 out of 250, and then you times it by 100 to turn it into a percent. Or on your calculator, you do it exactly as we've just typed it there. So we're going to do 95 out of 250 times 100, 38%. You have 1 mark for the method of writing 95 over 250, 1 mark for the answer. Part B. Berwyn wants to hire a car. He sees the following advertisement. Cars for hire, £35.60 in total for the first 2 days, then £16 per day. He hires a car and his bill comes to £163.60. For how many days did he hire the car? Okay, so the first thing to do is to take off the fixed amount. So out of that £163.60, the first 2 days cost him £35.60. So we take that off, £163.60, because that £35.60 everybody pays regardless of the number of days. So that's so £128 is made up from the rest of the days. So remaining or extra days, every one of them costs him £16. So we've got to split that 128 into 16s. So that's 8 days. So there's 8 days which are variable, but then on top of that you've got to add the first 2 days there. So the total number of days will be 8 variable ones plus the first 2 equals 10 days. So 1 mark there for getting the 128, a method for getting the 8 days, an answer for getting the 8 days, and then a final mark for getting 10. So total for that page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then question 12 puts us into the grade C zone. So let's take a look at question 12. He spends a quarter of £400 on rent. So spend on rent equals 1/4 of £400. Quarter of 400 is 100. Spend on food is 2/5 of 400. So to work out 2/5 of 400, use your fraction button. 2/5 of, to do of, you can use times. You could do 400 divided by 5 to find 1/5 and then multiply by 2. Doesn't matter, does the same thing. But 2/5 of 400, you can just type onto your calculator like that. That's £160. Now the question is asking, what fraction does he have left? So we know he's spent 260, so the amount he has left will be 400 less 100 less 160, £140 left. But the question is not asking how much has he got left, it's asking what fraction he's got left. So he's got 140 out of 400 left. Question wants it in its simplest terms, so again, make your calculator do the work, use the fraction button. 140 on top, 400 on the bottom, 7 out of 20. Calculator puts it into its lowest terms for you. So for that one, you're going to get 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for getting the 140, 1 mark for the 140 out of 400, 1 mark for the lowest terms. So there you go, we're into the C zone now, so I'll stop the recording and then start again.